And welcome back to SWBA Today. And in today's episode, we're going to be looking at the SWBA scoreboard. We're going to be looking at all the games that took place yesterday and recapping the major storylines out of those games. And then also, too, we're going to be looking at the Eastern and the Western Conference standings as things have tightened up, as we just have just a little bit left to go here in the SWBA season. And so let's go ahead and jump into the scoreboard and just looking at the key takeaways from all these games that took place yesterday. And so let's start with the Memphis Grizzlies versus the Charlotte Hornets here. And so the Memphis Grizzlies visiting the Charlotte Hornets and winning in this one 124-100. And I think really the key takeaway out of this one is that just a scary fall there from Jalen Wells. Rookie's been playing very well here in the SWBA, ends up breaking his wrists and, just an accidental play there on a chase down from KJ Simpson trying to block the shot. And so Jalen Wells goes down, had to be stretchered off. It looks like that he's okay. And so I think that was major storyline number one. Number two was just Ja Morant and his play. He had 28 points in this one. He was 4-4 from the free throw line. He was 4 of 10 from deep. He's 10 of 21 in this one. You had Desmond Bain, who added 19 points, and Jaren Jackson Jr., he had 14 points. He had 5 rebounds, but more importantly, he got to the free throw line 7 times. And so this is a huge win for the Memphis Grizzlies. We're going to talk about what that means in the standings, but I think that that's probably the biggest thing here is that Memphis continues to really give themselves a chance to maybe improve a little bit as the SWBA playoffs approach here. And so next up, we got the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Chicago Bulls. And so, look, the key takeaway out of this win for the Cavs is they win 135-113 is that they now go ahead and they've locked up the number 1 seed. So this game pretty much locked it up for them. And in this one, you didn't have any Donovan Mitchell in this game. You had the Chicago Bulls who sat a lot of their players. And so Kobe White did not play. Josh Giddey didn't play. You had Nikola Vucevic. He did not play as well. And maybe with the anticipation that Chicago is really gearing up for tonight's game against the Miami Heat, as that has some playoff seeding implications there. But you got to give the Cleveland Cavaliers a lot of credit. I think that they knocked down, a ton of three-point shots in this one. They really got hot in the third quarter. The Chicago Bulls, I think, fought back in this game. But still, you just get a chance to see how deep this Cavs team is. Dean Wade had 9 points. Ty Jerome had 18 points off the bench. He was plus 15. He was 3 of 4 from deep, 7 of 11 from the field. And so he was doing his thing. And so you just get a chance to see how good this Cavs team is. And with the Chicago Bulls, competed very well. I thought that Modest Bazelis played very good for this team. So 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists there as the Cavs take care of business and lock up the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. Next up, you got the Indiana Pacers versus the Washington Wizards. And so, look, this was a bit of a test for the Indiana Pacers. They were able to come back and get this win against the Washington Wizards. You got to give them a ton of credit for going out there and competing. Alex Sarr had 20 points in this. He had 12 rebounds. He had 6 assists as well. And look, I think that Bub Carrington's been playing very well over this last course of the season. He had 13 points, 4 assists. He was plus 3. 5 of 19 from the field. And they also played Keyshawn George as well. So 9 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. This is a Wizards team, very young, very much about getting their young players out there, really having them gel together as they continue to build through this upcoming draft coming up. And then with the Pacers, I think that Tyrese Halliburton stepped up in this one. He had 22 points. He had 6 assists. He had a steal. And then you had a good contribution from Miles Turner. He was able to knock down some shots there late. So 14 points for him. He also had 11 rebounds. You had Pascal Siakam, 24 and 10. He's been playing well at stretches, but I'm very impressed with what they got from Obi Toppin. 12 points. He had 7 rebounds and 3 assists plus 22. I think he's going to be huge for the Pacers as they push forward. And so next up, next game on the schedule here, that was the Pelicans versus the Nets. And so this is the one thing that came out of that game. Just they are all about just trying to get their positioning for this SWBA draft coming up. I think that that's really the bottom line for these two teams. Look, at this point, these are two teams that are playing a lot of young players in this game. You got a lot of players that maybe you're not familiar with. I've been talking about the Brooklyn Nets and Drew Timme and just his time at Gonzaga. And I've been impressed with the fact that he's come up from the G Leagues and he's played very well. So he had 16 points in this one. He had 9 rebounds. He was -8 in the plus-minus box score. For the Pelicans, look, they did get Jose Alvarado back. I think he played pretty strong for them. He had 16 points in this game. He also had 4 assists and 2 steals. He was -25 in the plus-minus box score. But I think he's been really the bright spot here for this team as they are just trying to continue to figure things out and just really try to maximize this situation with Zion Williams or whatever they're looking to do there with the Pelicans. And so next up, you got the New York Knicks versus the Boston Celtics. And so this game might have been the game of the day. It actually went into overtime. Celtics win it 119-117. And really, it was a back and forth kind of game. Definitely had a lot of playoff feel to it. And really, it looked like that the Celtics might have been in trouble because Jason Tatum went to the free throw line, could have tied it up. Didn't happen. Looks like the Knicks went down. They hit a big shot. I think it was Mikal Bridges, and it looked like it was pretty much over. And then that's where you see Jason Tatum come down, and he put just a series of moves on OG Anunoby and hit a tough three-point shot. And then from there, once the Celtics got it into overtime, it was game, set, and match. But I think for the Celtics here, the biggest takeaway is Kristaps Porzingis played very well. He hit a huge shot in this game, which pretty much iced it. He had 34 points. He was 4 of 6 from the free throw line, but he was 8 of 13 from downtown, 11 of 19 from the field. Jason Tatum, 32 points. He had 7 rebounds, and he also had 5 assists and a steal. He was +2. And this was without Jaylen Brown. I mean, he played 22 minutes, didn't play really down the stretch of this one, didn't necessarily look as good. So maybe still trying to recover from the injury that he had been dealing with the knee and everything else. And I think with the Knicks, look, you had Jalen Brunson come in. I think that this is probably his best game since he's been back. He had 27 points. He had 10 assists in this one, -2. He was 10 of 21 from the field. I thought that he did a great job as far as really table setting for the Knicks. But at the end of the day, the Boston Celtics take care of business, and I think that this Knicks team really struggles with the top of the Eastern Conference, and so that's something to maybe look out for as the SWBA playoffs approach. Got to give Karl Anthony Towns a lot of credit. He had 34 points in this one and 14 rebounds as well, but a tough loss for the Knicks at home too. So next up, next game that we want to talk about here is the Milwaukee Bucks and the Minnesota Timberwolves, and so this is probably going to be a game in which I'd say the Timberwolves walk away very disappointed in this one. They blew a huge fourth quarter lead. I think that they were up big in the third and fourth quarter. And just to let you know how just wild it was and how much the Bucks kind of went off, 40-13 in the fourth quarter, the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, they just went on an absolute tear, just knocking down shots, and that just pretty much ended the Minnesota Timberwolves. And so very disappointing to see the Timberwolves collapse like this. But, man, you got to give the Bucks a lot of credit. Giannis, when he's playing like this, they're tough to beat, even without Dame Lillard. He had 23 points, 10 assists, and 13 rebounds, plus 26 in this. And then they had a very good contribution from Bobby Portis, back from the suspension there. So he had 18 points, 10 rebounds. He was +10 and just brought a ton of energy for this team. Kevin Porter Jr., look, he looked good down the stretch. He got some key steals. In fact, he had 5 steals on the day, 21 points, +18, and he was 9 of 9 from the free throw line. And so I think that was a very good trade to get him over there to Milwaukee. On the other side of this, with Minnesota, look, you get a good contribution from Anthony Edwards. He had 25 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. You had Devin Ginto, 24 points, 2 assists, and 3 rebounds. But Julius Randle, only 9 points, only 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. And I think that This is really where the Timberwolves struggle. If those big three don't play well altogether, it's tough for the Timberwolves. And I still think that the Knicks really won that trade. But we'll see what happens. As the Timberwolves kind of trend towards the postseason, maybe they're able to get hot at the right time. And so next up, you got the Thunder versus the Lakers. And so look, the Thunder win 136-120. I think really the headline out of this is that Luka gets ejected in this game. And, depending on what you believe there, he was saying that he was talking to a fan. The ref thought he was talking to him. And so he got kicked out of the basketball game. And really, I think that that's where things really changed for the Lakers. I think that they were in a good position. But then after that, that's where OKC really took off in this one. Speaking of Luka, he had 23 points. He had 5 assists on the day. He also had 3 rebounds. He was +6, 7 and 15 from the field. LeBron, a very strong game, 28 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, -23. He was 8 of 19 from the field. And Austin Reeves continues to play well for this Lakers team. So he had 24 points, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds, -19 on 6 of 12 shooting. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, look, he was back in this one. He got to the free throw line 11 times. We were talking about the first game against the Lakers. He got there none. And so in this one, he got there 11 times. He had 42 points, 6 assists. He had 6 rebounds, +7 in 37 minutes, 14 of 26. And so, look, you can see that the OKC Thunder are going all in down the stretch. They're not resting players here, really trying to send a message as they win 136-120. And so next up, next game that we want to talk about here is the Golden State Warriors versus the Phoenix Suns. And so, look, the Warriors take care of business 133-95. And I think that this was one of those games from Steph where he just wanted to make sure that everybody remembers that this guy can score the basketball. We obviously know that he has nothing else to prove to us, but he had a tough night against the Houston Rockets. And in this one, it's that type of night when Steph Curry is hitting shots and he's turning away from the shot going down and celebrating. And that was one of those plays in this game with Steph Curry. And so he was feeling it. He was +31. He had 25 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 9 of 17 from the field. You had Brandon Pozinski continues to play well. I've been impressed with this guy. I think he's really figured it out here. 22 points, +20, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 7 of 12, 4 of 6 from downtown, 4 of 4 from the free throw line. Very smooth with the left-handed, shots that he can put up there. And then you got Jimmy Butler, 10 points in this one, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. He was +22 in this one. Draymond Green doing Draymond Green stuff, 5 points. He had 4 assists, 2 steals, 20 minutes of play. And so that was good for, I think, the Golden State Warriors. They really didn't have to play that much. This game was a lot more uglier than it looked. And I just think that the Phoenix Suns are in trouble. I mean, Devin Booker continues to play well. He had 21 and 4. But aside from that, they just did not look good. Bradley Beal only had 7 points and 4 assists in this game, and they just didn't really have much of anything else. And so this has been a tough finish to the season for the Phoenix Suns, and I don't expect it to get any better, especially without Kevin Durant out there. Next up, you got the Clippers and the Spurs. And so, look, the bottom line out of this is that you continue to get some good play from James Harden, Zubac, and even though they didn't have Kawhi in this game, I believe he was out due to rest, but man, they still got some good contributions from other players. In fact, Norman Powell stepped up in this one. Maybe should have been an all-star this year, 25 points. He had 5 rebounds, 3 assists, +5. And then you had James Harden, 21 points. He had 12 assists. He was hitting step backs, all kinds of things, +14 there. And Derek Jones Jr., I think a very underrated pickup this offseason. A lot of people forget that he was with the Mavs and they were in the SWBA finals last year. And so he had 18 points in this, 8 of 15 from the field. He was +13. And so I've just been really impressed with the way that his game has evolved. And so the Clippers are rolling right now at a high level. And then on the other side of this thing, you got the San Antonio Spurs. Look, I think it's all about the young players, and especially when it comes down to it with Stephon Castle. I think that Stephon Castle has been great. I think you're looking at a guy, to me, that certainly is going to be, I think, the SWBA Rookie of the Year. He had 19 points in this one. He had 8 assists. He was 8 of 12 from the free throw line, 5 of 7 from the field, and 1 of 2 from downtown. And I just think with Stephon Castle, he's starting to look a lot like he did at UConn. He's certainly getting comfortable. And man, I can just imagine here in year two with Wemby out there, this is going to be a team that's going to be tough. And you match that with De'Aaron Fox. I'm really, really excited for the future for the San Antonio Spurs. And so with that being said, wanted to go ahead now and briefly look over at the standings here. And I think really the focal point out of the standings is taking a look at the Western Conference, but we start with the East. And the biggest thing is that we get the Cavs really go ahead and lock up that first place. I think that that was kind of a foregone conclusion. The Celtics, I think that they're going to be right there at 2. The Knicks, just talking about them again, I think that they've struggled, I think, against some of these top teams in the Eastern Conference. That could be something that a lot of teams are going to look at, or I should say fans should look at with the Knicks. It's going to be the quality of wins that they've had this year. The Pacers, look, they're starting to trend up, looking a lot like they did last season. I talked about that before. The Bucks, Giannis playing out of his mind, and he's getting some good supporting cast play right now. And so that's going to be critical for them. The Pistons weren't in play yesterday, but look, they have changed things around a lot. I love the fact that they have Cade Cunningham, who could be the most improved player of the SWBA. We'll see what happens, but I think that the mix of veterans have been good. With the Orlando Magic and the Atlanta Hawks, like I think that that is another team that to me, they have been trending very well. And in fact, we forgot about their game they played yesterday. And so Atlanta and Orlando played, and Orlando won 119-112. And I think that going into just now that we're looking at the standings here, I think the fact that they have Franz Wagner, and then also too, you have Ben Carroll back. These two are playing very well. In yesterday's game, they had 33 and 22 respectively. And so they're getting some good contributions there. They don't have Jalen Suggs, but I think still this is a team you very much don't want to see. Atlanta, look, it all depends on what they're going to get from Trae Young and this team. I think that Dyson Daniels has really established himself, but it's going to be about the others aside from those two. And then when you look at just the last portion of the bottom of the Eastern Conference, when you look at just the Bulls and the Heat, we're talking about them playing today. And so playoff seeding is going to be on the line. But remember, all these teams are firmly going to be into the play-in situation that you're seeing right there from 7 down. And so next up, we got the Thunder sitting at the top of the Western Conference. And I think that we already know what the Thunder can do. I think I'm just more excited to see what's going to happen when the postseason comes. Lakers, look, right now they're third, but if you look here from 3 all the way down to move this out the way to 10, guys, I mean, you could see that we're talking about a game apart, really, all the way down to the Timberwolves. And so anything can happen here. And I'm just going to say that I don't think the Lakers are necessarily going to slide. I like the Clippers to really stay solid, especially if they get Kawhi Leonard back. The Nuggets are a team that scares me the most, especially with the coaching change there. And then also too with the GM, and then just hearing kind of the stuff that's going on there. So reading a little bit more about that, it looks like that maybe the GM was trying to suggest some players that maybe Coach Malone should be playing. Maybe there was a little bit of a disagreement there. Obviously not in that building, not employed by the Nuggets. Nobody will really know unless somebody comes out and says that. But it looks like that there's a lot going on behind the scenes here. And it's unfortunate because you have one of the better players here in the SWBA. And I was just reading some here just about moments ago talking about, well, maybe could Nikola Jokic maybe be the guy that demands a trade or something like that? I don't think he necessarily demands his way out, but, not to get off topic here, I just think that the Nuggets might be in some real trouble, especially if they don't have Jamal Murray. And you're talking about a hamstring. That is very tricky. And so he may not be 100%. He has to be 100% for this team to be okay. With the Warriors, look, they are a very scary team. It's just that the team ahead of them, I think, owns the tiebreaker with the Clippers, and they're being chased by another team that does hold a tiebreaker. I believe it's the Timberwolves. And so that's going to be interesting down the stretch. The Warriors do have a favorable schedule here. And so I think it's going to mean a lot if they can stay out of the play-in situation. So I think that they can stay firm. With the Grizzlies, I think the Grizzlies are a team that I think maybe stays where they are as well. I could see them maybe slip down another spot too, just depending on what's going to happen with Ja Morant, or if they have like just a random injury down the stretch where it looks like that they're pretty healthy for the most part. And I do like the fact that they're getting some good contributions from Zach Edey, who actually had a good game against the Charlotte Hornets. We didn't talk about that, but the supporting cast has been good enough as long as they can stay healthy. We'll see. I have to take a look now at their offense to see if things have been a little bit more different. But much like the Nuggets, I think that those are two teams that, man, they could definitely slide, but we'll see what happens. Timberwolves, they have the talent with Anthony Edwards. I feel like he's a guy that can take you just about anywhere, even though this team is still trying to figure out a lot of things from that trade. And so that's a team that maybe they can slide up a bit. We'll see what happens there. The Kings, look, I think that the Kings are definitely in there for sure, especially with the bottom kind of falling out of the Phoenix Suns. But much like just in the past with the Chicago Bulls, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, I wonder just how far the Kings are going to go. But I think that they're firmly going to be right here. I don't expect for them to necessarily go up. And the Mavs, look, the Mavs are just holding on. And I think just the bottom line for them is that they do not have a healthy Phoenix Suns team. And so they're there. I'm just not sure how far they're going to go. And so anyway, let me know in the comments here what you guys are thinking as we just talked about the standings in the Eastern and Western Conference. We talked a little bit more about just the wildness there with the Nuggets. And so let me know what your key takeaways are from yesterday's wins, losses, and then also to the standings. And as we always say around here, see the game and be the game. We'll see you guys on the next one. All right, peace.